Yo, what's going on everybody? Gray here, and today I'm excited to be bringing you our free-to-play meta snapshot for Alliance Battle Legend in Marvel Future Fight. Today's video, we're going to be going over all the different days, their restrictions, and teams that free-to-play players can use to try and get better scores in the game mode. A couple quick caveats before we get into this. Number one being that there are Alliance Battle changes that are scheduled to be coming to the game sometime soon. Normally, I would tell you that all of the information in this video is subject to change, but in this case, it is likely to change and relatively soon. So keep that in mind as far as future planning goes. Crystals. The other thing I want to mention is that I am not a master of this game mode. I am a student. I'm still learning. There are a lot of nuances that aren't represented here. I just want to convey that information to you guys so you know that this video is really just here to help free-to-play and new players get a bearing on what characters they should be using for these days as a free-to-play. All right, guys, jumping over to our infographic, the last thing I want to tell you is the way this is set up. I did not take artifacts into account really here, and there are certain situations where maybe someone with a brilliant CTP might be better in this slot than a support, but I left a lot of that nuance out just to keep things simple for us. So starting in the upper left here, we've got speed, human, female. Leaderships are in the center column here. You can see them marked. We've got Shuri in the lead, Gwenny P, our DPS for this day, Gwenpool showing up for the free-to-plays, and then our other support is going to be Cassie Lang, which is a nice little flair for free-to-play players, as people with actual supports would never use this character. So very cool. And you only need her at 6 stars to get her support because it's on her 4-star passive. Moving on, we got Blast Villain here. Oh, and I'm sorry, there are not really any alternates for this day. Just grab this setup if you're a free-to-play player. It's cheap, it's easy, you should have it. Blast Villain male here, Doctor Strange with the self-buffing lead, and then we've got Mysterio with his seasonal uniform as our support, AKA'd as Scooby-O, and then in the other support slot, we've actually got, because it is the best option for free-to-plays, the Phoenix 5 villain uniform for Cyclops. However, I do not recommend that anyone go buy this uniform to cover this spot. As I said, changes are coming, and also that's a really high cost for a little bit of support here. You can use the Cyclops gold uniform instead. It's only 15% instead of 30%, but it is a support. And then if you don't have Scooby-O, I don't know what to tell you. I just double checked and I don't see any other real support options for this day. So if you missed out on Mysterio, you're just going to have to find someone for a co-op skill or some kind of team up to get some extra damage, as far as I know. All right, moving on. We got no restrictions, and I will tell you guys right here, right now, that there are 2 no restriction days. They're just exactly the same, so I didn't list them both on. For no restrictions, we've got Mephisto in the lead spot and our main DPS. We've got Storm supporting Mephisto with the elemental damage, as well as the ability to strike. So if your Storm is built up, her striking during the battle can actually contribute to your score. Ghost Panther as well for a support for Mephisto. And then the other option here, besides this setup, is basically just to run a Storm setup where you would run Cyclops lead, Storm, and Dazzler. And then another option for support I just threw down here in case maybe your Storm isn't built, maybe you don't have her uni and you have Mephisto, something like that. You can use Valkyrie for this day as a nice little support that's available to free-to-plays. Moving on, we've got Universal Female here. Universal Female, Scarlet Witch's day. We've got Scarlet Witch with her villain uniform, the zombie uniform for our DPS. We've got Proxima, who only supports villains in this case, supporting Scarlet Witch, and then Phyla-Vell as well for the universal support. If we look at our alternative here, it's going to be Scarlet Witch with her hero uniform. And if you're running that, you can no longer run Proxima, as she's only for villains, so you want to run Angela instead, because Angela will actually provide a support buff for heroes only. Effect the hero Scarlet Witch uniform. Moving on, we got Human Female back up at the top here, center column. The leadership for this day is going to be Shuri. DPS is going to be Gwenny P. Again, we got Gwenpool here. And then Taskmaster with the female uniform is going to be the best support here. And the alternative you can use if you do not have this is going to be Cassie Lang, making another appearance. Moving on, we got Combat Villain male here. Hulk in the lead, giving himself the big HP buff. Abomination with the seasonal, absolutely massive support for Hulk. And then Red Hulk, an interesting support. Somebody could explain this way better than I'm going to, but he does provide damage and HP for Hulk. But then I think it also has to do with striking skills as well. I could be way off there, but I think that's part of why you end up using Red Hulk here. And then the alternative setup for this day is going to be Kingpin, with Taskmaster supporting, and then I was not able to find a third support for this setup. I don't know if you do something similar. You probably wouldn't as a free-to-play, let's be honest. You would just use Hulk and run Taskmaster instead of Abomination. But if you were going for the Kingpin route for some reason, I think you'd use Taskmaster. And I just know that in ABX, Bob was using Winter Soldier Kingpin setup, but I have no reason to think that applies to ABL as well. They're different game modes and they work differently. So anyways, if you find a third support for a Kingpin setup or know that setup, let us know in the comments. Help everybody out. Moving on, we got Blast Hero Mutant. Storm showing up with the DPS big time here. Cyclops in the lead for a good co-op as well with Storm, and then Dazzler for the awesome support buff. And then the alternative here is going to be Cable. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. Get Storm. I can't imagine why you would run Cable over Storm. Maybe you're coming back to the game. You already had Cable with his uniform, his newest one, and you didn't have Storm. In that moment, you could run Cable. You can also run Polaris as a lead, but it is not as good as Cyclops, because Cyclops is going to give us access to a co-op skill, which is going to increase our damage a lot compared to Polaris, who does not offer a co-op skill for this team. Okay, moving on. We got Speed Female, and I will even do right by y'all and move my dome piece out of the way here so we can see the slide. We got Speed Female, we got Gamora in the lead here. Why not? I'll tell you why, actually, because there is a reason you would put her in the lead. Oh, excuse me, I'm thinking of Nick Fury. Sure, he's got way, you'd put her in the lead because she's way, way better. So she's going to sit in the lead spot here, which is really nice. What I was going to say, it also puts her right in the DPS spot, so you're good to start with Gamora, which is really nice. Shuri, way worse lead. She's going to be our support. And then Wave is going to show up here as the best support for Speed Female. If you do not have access to Wave, which a lot of people won't, and I'm not sure I would recommend even buying her, especially at this point with changes coming, you can use Cassie Lang. All right, moving on, guys. Let's see if I can get through the rest of this without confusing myself. I've made a ton of changes to this. Alien Hero Male is going to be Gladiator for your main DPS and a self-buffing lead here. The best supports for Gladiator are Yondu and Groot, I'm pretty sure here. This team is so heavy duty for a free-to-play player. This is 2 seasonal uniforms, both summer seasonals, and an Epic Quest character with a uniform. This is not likely to be the setup you have as a free-to-play. If it is, fantastic. If it's not, we're going to talk about some alternatives here. You can use Thor as your main DPS here instead, as he is Alien Hero Male. You can even use Beta Ray Bill as a damage dealer for this day. If you're using Thor, you can use Ronin as a support, because Ronin is a universal only support, but Thor is universal, Gladiator is not. Ronin can also support Beta Ray Bill, if I'm not mistaken. So with all of this, you can find some kind of setup, hopefully, that works really well for you on this day. I think I'm personally running for this day Thor with Ronin and Yondu. I'm pretty sure that's the same. Anyways, moving on, guys, we got Hero Mutant Female, and this is another interesting day. A lot of people are going to kind of question this. I put characters in their newest uniform on the slides for these things, but you do not need X23's newest uniform for this setup. I just want to make that clear. You can use her stock original look. It doesn't matter. You don't need the uniform. But what's going to happen here is Storm's going to be your main DPS. This is nice because it starts her right in that main DPS slot again, so you don't have to swap. You can just move straight in. And X23, reason we use her is when you activate the co-op skill with X23 and Storm's, it's actually going to activate Storm's 5th skill, which does a lot of damage, and it just ends up adding up. If you can put the co-op skill in the right place, activate it during the light phases when you have 150% increased score, you can get a lot of extra score by adding basically another Storm doing a 5th skill during your point boost. So that's how this works out. If you want to try it, give it a shot. X23 is easy to get your hands on, and like I said, you don't need the uniform. So see if this works for you. If you're struggling with it, or it doesn't work for you, or you can't line the co-op up just yet, Go ahead, you can try Magic if you want in the lead. That's what I was running. I'm going to be working with this X23 setup now because I'm getting better with the co-op skill. But you can run Magic in the lead for some extra damage to mutants, and she also provides a co-op skill, but it's not as good of an attack, so it doesn't do as much damage as the setup. And of course, you've got Polaris as well, but co-op skill, turns out, is very, very important in game modes, particularly, I think, Alliance Battle Legend. So there you go. That's hero, mutant, female. Moving on, we got Alien Villain here, and Alien Villain is the home of our man Denton. The dingleberry we just can't seem to wipe away, following you like toilet paper on your shoe. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Loki Laufeyson himself, his last bastion of hope, hanging on to Alien Villain ABL. He is going to be our best option here. And I'll get into some nuances with Loki here in just a sec. You're going to support him with Proxima and Enchantress. Nobody has a good lead, just like this setup up here. So you want to put your main DPS in the leadership slot so you can use them quicker. About Loki, I have told people for a long time that I generally recommend for new and free-to-play players to pick up Loki's uniform early on their accounts, right? When you're just starting. Game gives them to you for free, yada yada, I'll spare you the whole spiel. Thing is, on a new or free-to-play account, when you start filling out Alliance Battle, you have 0 other options for this day that aren't going to score like 20,000 points. Loki's kind of your dude. So here's what I'd recommend for people, right? Get Loki. If you go that route, you don't have to. You could just skip this day. Let's be real. As a new player, you could just not cover Alien Villain. That would be fine. You could do that. But if you want to cover it, take Loki, as we do, and do not tier 4 him. Take him to level 80. Park him at level 80. Get a decent score for now. If you get Null will score better than Loki with no build. Now, if you play Loki correctly, and I'll get into that in just a sec, you'll be able to get better score than I do, but playing Loki correctly is a whole other monster, right? So a lot of people, it's going to take them time to get Null. Loki can fill that slot. Again, don't tier 4 him. Thanos with his April Fool's seasonal farmer Thanos can cover this day, but I don't think that option is going to be what a lot of free-to-play players are using, but it is there. The thing about Null is he's just very expensive, and you're not likely to have him very early on. So he's not going to come in and replace Loki for months and months and months down the road on a brand new account. With Loki, I would not give him a CTP and a good build unless you really plan on investing in Loki and going for max scores, like if you're an ABL head. Last thing I'm going to tell you is if you're interested in learning how to play Loki, which you could just do for fun, I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the description to Bob Sarge MFF's video of him playing Loki. It is an amazing video, and it'll give you basically a tutorial of how to get a good score with that character. It is difficult. So if you're interested in that, watch that video first and kind of buyers beware. But if you don't have Loki, it's kind of Null's way or the highway for that day. So there you go, guys. That's going to sum that up. Universal Male. We've got Mephisto in the lead. We've got Ghost Panther giving him that support. And then Dr. Voodoo, I believe, is actually going to be the best support here for this setup. And then for alternatives on this day, you can use Ghost Rider. That's what I'm using until Black Friday when we get Mephisto's uniform. And Ghost Rider can be supported by Ronin. You can also use Ronin if you don't have Dr. Voodoo. You've got some options here. But there you have it. And then last, and certainly least, you've got Combat Human Male covered by Hulk with Abomination again and Red Hulk, the same setup. The only difference here is because this is Combat Human Male and doesn't have the villain tag in it, you can run M'Baku here. So if you do Kingpin, Taskmaster kind of setup, you can run M'Baku as well. And then the other thing to mention here is you can use Black Knight. If you manage to pick him up, he's not going to be really a free-to-play friendly option, but I just want to throw that out here. He can fit in this day if you are somebody who managed to get him during the update that he actually was. But not a free play option, so that's why he's not on our slide. And that about wraps it up, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it. I definitely learned some stuff here. So yeah, if you liked this content or enjoyed it or learned anything, go ahead, hit that like button. You know it helps us out a lot. If you want to see the live stream series, we do it every day at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell for notifications about all of that. I'm Old and Gray. This is Free to Play, and I hope you all have a spectacular day. We'll see you on the next one, everybody. Thanks.